coming, and especially thanks for the coverage of your sport of wrestling. My name is Bob Condra, and I'm the co-press chief here with Mr. Gary Abbott, USA Wrestling. Just a couple of notes. We're not going to translate from the podium, but we have speakers, Russian, Farsi, Japanese, Spanish, French, that will help you. They're in the back. If you need help, just raise your hand and we'll make it happen. We have two special guests today. Nenad Lalovic, president of United World Wrestling, and probably the main reason wrestling is back in the games. He spent every waking moment from February of 2013 getting wrestling back, and now he's head of the federation and improving it every day. Rich Bender is the CEO and the executive director of USA Wrestling, the organizers of this tournament. Rich is going to speak a bit about the tournament, but I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Lalovic now. Both guys have brief opening statements, and then welcome you, and then we'll open it up for questions. Mr. Lalovic.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for promoting our sport. Our sport is strong, but not strong enough without you. And we almost lost it recently, but we got back our sport for the Olympics again. We have best rules, better presentation, better governance, I believe, a new constitution, and a fresh feel about our sport. You can see the spirit from these World Championships. It's very pleasant and exciting here, and the athletes, coaches and fans have enjoyed it in a very high level, the highest in the world. I let Rich talk about some highlights of the here in Las Vegas, and then we'll take questions.
Thank you, Mr. President, and as President Lalovic said, thank you for promoting our sport and welcome to our press conference. My comments will be very brief, and the goal of our federation is very simple from the very start. The first time we learned that we were going to be entrusted with the responsibility of hosting what I think is arguably the most important wrestling tournament in the history of our sport. We had one goal, and it was very simple. That was to provide the most exciting and the best world championship ever hosted in the history of our sport. And I guess history will be responsible to determine whether we accomplish our goal or not. But it was very simple. We took it from an athlete's perspective, and certainly that's why we're here, to provide athletes with a level and exciting and fair playing field to participate in the greatest sport known to man. So our goal was very simple from the start, and that's just to host the best world championship. Just some numbers, as President Lalovic referred to. We have over 90 nations registered here to compete in the 3 championships, 800 plus wrestlers. We set a ticket sales revenue number record for us with over $1 million in ticket sales generated, and just have really stayed true to our goal, and that's to host the best championship possible for our athletes. So I guess with that, I'll turn it back to you, Bob.
Okay, we have a mic here, so if you get a question, raise your hand.
And please identify yourself and your media outlet. We'll pass this thing around. There's one microphone, but after each question, we'll pass it along.
Luke Meredith from the Associated Press. So for both of you, I know that I've seen that on some level there's been some preliminary discussions about the idea of discussing women's Greco-Roman wrestling. I wonder if you could touch on that and maybe what you're thinking there.
In order to have better gender balance, we are or reviewing all possible solutions for the future. One of these solutions is a possible Greco-Roman wrestling on the Olympics, but we are far from that point. Nothing will change, certainly, before the end of the Tokyo Games. We are experimenting with Greco-Roman for women, but there are other possibilities like women beach wrestling, and there are some other solutions.
My name is from Bulgaria, BTV television. Mr. Lalovic, you said we have better rules now, but I must not agree with you. And how will you comment the scandalous refereeing in the quarterfinal match between Russia and Bulgaria, Greco-Roman men freestyle?
Listen, this will be commented by our head of officiating. And if there was a big mistake, then we will severely punish the referees. But we have also we have to have in consideration the emotions. If it was decided in an opposite way, that is a question of one grab, one throw. Is it 4-2 or 2-2? If it was decided differently, I would probably have the same question from a Russian journalist.
2 points
And you,
during the match.
No, it was not added during the. You have to know the rules in order to comment them, like you all just did. The jury changed the result. The jury changed the result. It's not added during the match. It was not after. It was at the moment when the challenge was asked by the Bulgarian coach. So, this is all after the rules. You see, we have had 600 matches during this championship until now. And we have 5 or 6 situations that can be decided this way or this way. And the differences are very small. Can you imagine a football match stopped 7 times because the mistake was it offside, wasn't offside, or did the player just touch with his hand the ball? I will not agree with you that officiating is scandalous.
But all the people in Orleans Arena saw different thing watching the challenge. We have the situation.
Listen, we are not here to review the Bulgarian problem. We are here to speak. What for? Listen, everybody is here for the same purpose. Everybody. 90 countries.
Ms. Lalovic, my name is Mike Finn with Win Magazine. I do have a little follow-up with her question. It's simply, is there any way to make the rules less subjective, or else find a better way to explain the rules to that? Because it wasn't just this match, there's many that there's questions. Is there any way to make it less subjective?
That's we are trying to do all the time. But as I said to the referees before the beginning of the tournament, human mistakes can be accepted. Intentional mistakes cannot. And that being said, the level of tolerance of the guidance of the leadership of the federation is level 0. So, all the, let's say, complicated situations will be reviewed tonight, this evening. And if there are some suspicions, immediately the referees, the instructors, or the supervisors will be suspended until the end of the competition. For us, it is the only way to fight that. We don't have another way.
My name is Zebulon Miller with Go Hiocast and Flow Wrestling, and my question for you, President Lalovic, is what are you going to do to ensure the future of wrestling and men's freestyle, Greco-Roman, women's, and potentially women's Greco-Roman in the Olympic Games? And I got to commend you for bringing it back. You know, I'm fighting so hard to bring it back and winning the battle to get it back. But what are we going to do to ensure that we don't keep losing weight classes with the men's freestyle, adding weight classes with the women's? What is our association, federation, what are we going to do, what can countries do to ensure we don't keep losing footholds? You know, we got added back in, and we want to be in 2024, 2028, we want to, you know, infinity, you know, as far as we can go. But what is the association and the federation doing to ensure that future for wrestling so my kids will be able to wrestle, my, you know, grandkids will be able to wrestle?
I don't see that the situation of the position of wrestling is difficult in this moment in the IOC. I believe that we have a strong position, but according to the Agenda 2020, and you all know that athletes are limited to 10,500 in the Olympics, and with a great, let's say, with a big I'm searching for a right word, influence of other sports trying to enter the Olympic program, it will be more and more difficult, not for wrestling, but for every sport, to keep the same number of athletes on the Olympics. On the other side, we have to also negotiate with the IOC for the future about the gender balance. Our position is that we have to be, we have to explain that our position is that the IOC should take care globally of the gender balance on the Olympic Games. And it is difficult. We have to overview and to find solutions generally for the gender balance and not sport by sport. I will give you just one example. It is difficult to imagine to have synchronized swimming for men, as well as artistic gymnastics. So, in some sport there will be in the future more women, in some sport there will be more men, and at the end we hope that we will have the absolute gender balance for the games, like we had for the Olympic Games. We did an effort at this time, but for the Games 2020, the other federations have to make an effort this time. We were the first to make an effort. So I believe that we are secured.
Mr. Lalovic, Willie Saylor on Flow Wrestling. Last year in Tashkent, you said we were going to be seeing some changes before the championships here, and we saw the changes of the mat, the officials' uniforms this weekend, logos to the UWW, or United World Wrestling website, and the amount of material coming out through media there has also changed, and I think has been a great help. But what other new things might we see leading to Rio and in Rio? Is there anything in the works that's going to be a fundamental change?
You're certainly thinking about the singlets of the athletes and the presentation on the mat. We are making tests. As you saw, we have a famous advertisement beside the mat. And we are trying to find something that is satisfactory to everybody. You know, it's very difficult to introduce to the athletes a new kind of singlet. But on the other side, we would really like to have something modern and something more recognizable for the sport. I agree with you that the singlets that our athletes are wearing are old-fashioned, and we have to do something in that way. And I think that we will prepare a surprise for all of you on the Rio Games.
Tom Frank, Intermat. As a wrestling journalist, one way to get people excited about an event like this is to have them follow the team scoring. And the team scoring in this event is pretty complicated, specifically for places 6 through 10. I understand it, but it's very difficult to keep people up to speed as a journalist on how the points are going. Is there any discussion of team scoring reform, either specifically through 6 through 10 or in general? And then one other small point is I do hear criticism for the qualification matches all being on the lower half of the bracket. Is there any possibility of them being divided for the top half and the lower half?
It is a very difficult question. I will tell you why. If we change the system and we have a ranking of the athletes for the draws, then many small countries will not have a single chance to go to the Olympics. And this is very dangerous for the sport. The geography of the sport is very important, and it is very important for the IOC. Maybe we should have, and we have already spoken about this on our board, to have only the 2 best ranked wrestlers divided for the draws on competitions like this. This is, we will test all this. We will maybe test this on junior competitions, like we do with the rules in this moment without ordered parterre for the Greco-Roman. And it seems that that gives result, but it was not possible to change the rules 15 months before the Olympics. It's very difficult for the coaches and the athletes to, and we are testing, let's say, this new rules, which will enter in force immediately after Rio. And the feedback is very good, but we have to change the competition format for Greco-Roman in 2 days, because it becomes very, very difficult, almost impossible physically, to have 5, 6 matches during the day without an ordered parterre. It is very difficult. There was the first part of your question that I didn't answer. Team scoring, old-fashioned also. I was shocked yesterday learning that Turkey, who won 2 gold, was not among the 3 best teams. It is a little bit strange, but we adopted a long time ago this kind of team ranking, and I think that it should be revised.
KJ Pilcher in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Your election to the IOC, how will that help further wrestling's cause when it comes to the Olympic Games?
I was elected for the IOC membership not to protect wrestling only. This is not the idea of Olympism. The idea of Olympism is to protect the IOC members, to protect all the sports and to upgrade all the sports. My experience with wrestling proposed me to the IRC to be elected. But being in the IRC, the French have the way to say that a very well-informed man is valuable like two men. And it is very good for the sport to have the absolute understanding of what is the future of the IOC and the sports taking part in the Olympic program.
Higuchi from Japan Wrestling Federation website. He's going to go back to Greco-Roman style for the female. Okay, I'm going to say, I personally think it is dangerous because they will wrestle chest to chest, and he thinks it's very dangerous positions for possible future mothers. And I'd like to hear your opinion, please.
We have the same concern, believe me. And not only what you mentioned is a potential danger. If you take in consideration the bronze medal match between a Russian and American wrestler, and the throws that we witnessed, the women's morphology is a little bit different. And it's very dangerous if you saw in one moment the Russian wrestler falling on his face. And I was really afraid when I saw this, that he will be injured, and really badly injured. Luckily nothing happened, but as I said, women's morphology is different. They don't have so strong necks to absorb such shocks. And this is our big concern. We don't want them to have injuries immediately or have some problems like our Japanese colleague just mentioned.
William Hayes from Mat Time Weekly. My question is for President Lalovic and Mr. Bender. I would just like to hear both of your thoughts on the crowd here in Vegas so far.
Yeah, I'll take that. So, I mean, certainly it was part of our strategy, understanding the significance or how our U.S. fan base has a larger interest traditionally in freestyle wrestling. And as part of our strategy to try to have that fan base gravitate to the other two disciplines, we sold all session tickets for the first months before, you could not buy a ticket in the first, I believe, 8 months without buying all session ticket. And so our strategy was pretty simple. We are trying to encourage our traditional freestyle fan base to watch women in Greco-Roman wrestling and hopefully develop fans. And so, did that work? We have, I believe we're sold out on Saturday night, and we certainly have some empty seats the first couple days of this tournament. So obviously, some of those people that bought the all-session ticket maybe haven't been here. But I think overall, we're satisfied. We think that the crowds will continue to grow over the weekend, and that Saturday night that we'll be looking at a full house.
Sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Clinton Agbo from Nigeria. Natalie came here to watch the entire world, including the continent of Africa. But looking at the competition, only a very few Africans. Are you aware that the All-African Games is on in Congo, and that is a divided mind? Are there plans to ensure that when the world comes to wrestling, the entire world will come together? We felt everyone should have been here, rather than Congo.
I think that the wrestlers having the possibility and to qualify for the Olympics are here. They are not in Congo. Unfortunately, we couldn't change our calendar. And the games, African Games in Congo, were not sure from the beginning. And we cannot we couldn't, let's say, adjust our calendar with the Congo Games. I'm happy with wrestlers than we saw from Africa here, especially the Nigerian girl. She will become a wrestling star for sure. The boys from Algeria, it's something new, it's a new quality that we witness here. We financed our training center in Senegal, and all the wrestlers having the possibility to qualify eventually on this championship are here, like Isabelle Sambou, and these are our, how to say, these are the wrestlers. She's one of the wrestlers training in Senegal, and we financed all their trip, stay here, and their preparations in Dakar. And what can we do? We cannot change the date of championship. Rich Bender will tell you that we decided about this the 16th of February 2013. At that time, we didn't have the knowledge what is going to happen in Congo at this date.
This will be the last question, as we don't want anybody to miss the wrestling.
So, Mr. Lalovic, Larry Slater, I take photos with USA Wrestling. I've been doing this since 2005, and I want you to know that every year I come to this event, and it's like the first time they've ever done it. They don't have power, they don't have the internet working. We always have to struggle just to get to the mat. We can't take pictures of the people that we hope to get, and it seems like they fight with us as our enemy when we try to take pictures. This year, you have a crew in where they're familiar with the issues that the photographers have. They lay out sessions, places where we can go. They ask us if they can change anything for us, and they're flexible. And I just want to ask you if you could do that the next time in Brazil, and then in Paris, and then the next one, to have a team that looks after the photographers. We would so much appreciate it.
You already noticed that we make progress, and we will continue to make progress. I would like also to thank the USA Wrestling for giving us such good conditions for this championship, and what you just mentioned is one of these much better conditions than we had before. But we will never stop to improve our sport, the presentation of our sport, and everything that goes with officiating, rules, presentation, communication, and so on.
Okay, thank you for coming. We're on wrestling to the end.